each muscle group, I picked out my least favorite exercise. The exercise that I hated the most for back was pull-ups. For legs, it was single leg split squats. And so I would go in the gym, I would do 4 or 5 sets of that shitty exercise that I hated right off the bat. And I ended up having to change the exercises because I didn't hate them as much because I was getting good at them.
Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since 3rd grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Sean. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
One, two, three, four. Oh.
Not the intro I was expecting. Oh,
I love it,
throwback.
So, I don't know. We just now that we have the intro like pre-recorded and everything. Now that we're not doing it live, do it live. Fuck, we'll do it live. Now that we're not doing it, somebody will get that reference. Now that we're not doing it live, it's kind of awkward. Sean will give us a countdown when we're gonna start. 3, 2, 1, or he'll go 1, 2, and then I don't know. Something about that's like makes me want to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. All right, guys.
Definitely not the intro I was expecting, but I like it.
I'm
with it. Yeah.
So
I'm down with it.
I'm back in the captain's chair. I missed 2 episodes last week with great guests, and I'm very disappointed. However, I'm back, and we got a good one for you today. And it's an interesting one because Phil and I both, Phil and I are a little more advanced when it comes to training. Sean's a little more green than we are. Well, just, the duration, right?
Absolutely right.
I always say that, and I never want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I consider a beginner anyone that has not trained consistently, meaning like regular basis, at least 3 or 4 days a week for 2 years.
Yeah.
You should still consider yourself a beginner until that point.
I agree. So Sean's probably closer to that range. Phil and I are several years out of that range. But the interesting thing about it is all 3 of us have very different training styles that we like. And, that I kind of switch back and forth, but we utilize main core ones, right? And it's just interesting to see what people kind of settle into. And it really contributes to what Phil says, whatever you can be consistent with, right? Whatever you can be, that whatever is going to not inspire you, but whatever plan is going to make you more consistent or help you be more consistent is the right one.
Yeah, I think what you enjoy is a big part of this as well. And, whether you want to do chest, back, arms, shoulders, calves, big toe,
forearms,
thumb, however you want to do,
however you want to split it up.
And we're definitely going to cover why some things are better than other today.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, doing something consistently is the most important thing.
Right.
So there's pros and cons to full body workouts that we're going to talk about. There's pros and cons to body part splits that we're going to discuss as well. At the end of the day, for what we recommend usually is a full body approach, but there's definitely no reason that a body part split can't work.
Right.
So I figured we could just kind of start from the top here. Daryl is the more body part split. I'm a bro. Like
what they call the bro split. I tend to lean more towards the bro split.
Yep.
Now I was telling Sean off air, which that conversation should have been recorded. I would say that my favorite split that I've really done was right now I'm doing your standard bro because I always go back to
what is it? Let's just kind of go real quick.
Right now.
Yeah.
So I do, I have a chest day. So I go chest, back, legs, shoulders, off, legs. and then start it over.
So it's 6 days a week.
So it's 6 days a week.
Okay, got it.
And I got 2 different leg days, which I like legs. I'm good at legs. It really should be 2 chest days because I need to bring my chest up, but I've just been liking the legs right now. So that's what I'm doing right now. A typical bro split, hit each muscle group once a week, most muscle groups once a week, and one muscle group twice a week. I could train 7 days and hit 2 muscle group twice, but that's split I'm doing right now. I have 1 day off, but I do like for a long time, I did a push-pull legs off, push-pull legs off, and I had A day and B day. So push A, pull A, legs A, off. And then it was chest or push B,
right,
back, or pull B, and then legs B. So A and B.
And I remember those days too, because we would work out together sometimes, and I would just kind of follow along with you. I am more in the boat of a full body situation for a few different reasons. And I'm going to go over just one of the overarching reasons real quick, and then we'll go into the pros of your style body part split. And so the overarching reason that I recommend full body, or at least until you work out consistently a minimum of 4 days a week, I believe you should 100% be doing full body.
Yeah.
If you do at least 4 days a week consistently, at that point, it's like you're allowed, quote unquote, allowed to do a body part split.
Sure.
Anything less than that, highly recommend full bodies. But that being said, let's go into why you like body part splits. What is it about it? I have a couple of points that I'd like to mention, but just from your perspective, what is it about the body part splits that you like, and what's good about it in your opinion?
For me, it feels less monotonous is one thing. Like I'm hitting chest once a week, arms once a week, back once a week. In most cases, right? Legs twice, sometimes chest twice, but like, it's not like, I don't feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It's like each week I get to kind of start over. It feels less monotonous. That's one thing. And of course, I like the idea of priority training a body group or a body part. Like I was telling Sean, I need to do my chest, right? I need to do that like twice a week. And so if you want to bring up what you would consider to be a lacking muscle group, then you can priority train that and hit it directly, 2-3 times a week when you're doing a split like that. But if you're doing full body, say 4 or 5 days of full body, you're going to have a hard time bringing any one singular body part up, right?
Yes.
And so me taking more of a bodybuilder approach. I like bodybuilding. I like all the different physiques. It just, for me, is makes me feel like I'm closer to that, I guess, goal. Not that I'm going to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that, and one of the big pros of a body part split, in my opinion, is you get a better pump.
Yeah, sure.
Like the pump in that particular body part that you're training. You leave, my chest, my
arms, my shoulders.
If you're doing full body, there's a chance you're not going to get as much of that.
Sure.
Yeah, right. It really feels like you did something when you do just a body part split.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
In
that body part. Yeah. In that body part, it really feels like you're doing something. And because you also get more volume on that particular body part. How many exercises on chest day? How many chest exercises are you doing?
I usually try to do 5 to 7 on everything. Exercises, minimum of 5 up to 7. That depending on the muscle group, sometimes the legs I'll go 4, right? If I'm doing like a quad day, I do 4 quads, right? And then, 1 or 2 calves. But, one other thing I want to bring up, while I'm thinking about it is I think that the traditional bro split for me, somebody who has very bad 2-day DOMs and 3-day DOMs, it truly helps me. So like when I was doing my push-pull legs off push, so pull legs off push, I got 2 and 3-day DOMs really bad. And then that 4th day I'm pushing again. Right. And I might still have some little residual soreness. So if I'm doing, chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, legs, then the residual soreness is less likely to catch up with me if I'm training body parts 6-7 days apart, or the same body part 6 or 7 days later. So that's the 3 things that I think I like most about the bodybuilder split. And maybe it's just what I'm comfortable with because that's how I kind of started.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with this as well. If you've gotten good results with something in the past, that's your bias. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
As long as you continue to do it and it follows. And it works for you. And so Daryl mentioned 5 to 7 exercises on one body part. So that's why you get such a bigger pump in that particular body part, because that's a lot of exercises. Now, to flip the script a little bit, just to point out the cons here, because we're trying to be fair on everything.
Definitely some cons.
On that same note, doing 5 to 7 exercises on one body part, what can happen, and I don't know if this happens to you, I'd like to know, is the fatigue of that body part could fall very rapidly. So your first exercise feels great. Second exercise, pretty good. By the third one, you're kind of like, oh man, I mean, I still feel it a little bit, but by that fourth one, like, do you still, like, maybe it's not even as effective if you really push yourself hard in the beginning. And I'm not saying that definitely happens to everyone and to Daryl, but it can happen. Is that something that you deal with?
A lot. It just depends on the body part again. But like, let's take biceps, for example. I only do when I have my arm day, I only do 4 bis and 4 tries, and usually I superset them. So it's 8 exercises, but I'm doing them in 4, right?
4
by
groups.
try. And that's because by the 4th exercise, I'm bicep curling and I feel like my arms are going to explode. Right. And there's a big pump, but I don't really feel like I don't have full range of motion. I can't move a lot of weight. I don't feel like I'm isolating it very well. I'm starting to use other body parts to curl, right? Because my arms are so worn out. So yes, that definitely happens depending on the body parts. Same thing with my legs. And those are such big compound movements that take so much out of you. I feel like if you do 4 upper leg, quad, or hamstring exercises, and you do 4 sets of them and you do them hard, you should be on the brink of like, okay, I'm walking a little bit funny. Yeah. And if not, you need to train him. Yeah. You need to train him a little bit harder. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's a great kind of segue into my next point that I was going to make of cons of the body part split is some days are way harder than others.
Absolutely right.
There's no way that leg day and bicep and tricep day are even comparable.
No.
There's a big difference there. So on legs, legs, rough day, really tough. But arm day, it's kind of easy.
I like arm day.
It's pretty nice.
It makes my shirt feel like it fits nice. I'm pumped up.
Bust out your best stringer tee.
Yeah,
bust
out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then last con on the body part split, and once again, I'd like to hear if this is something that you deal with, is if you miss a day, how do you handle that? Do you just do you miss that day completely? Because what I've heard a lot in body part splits is if you miss that, if Thursday is my chest day, if you miss Thursday, then you just miss chest for that week.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've dealt with, or how do you handle that?
So at this point, I just dealt with that last week, and here's how I do it now. And this is just my approach. So Monday is my chest day, and Tuesday is my back day right now. And something came up at work. I was telling you all about that. I actually missed the show on Monday. So something came up at work, and I missed my workout on Monday. So that was chest day gone. Can't have that. Can't miss chest day.
Yeah,
so Tuesday, I lengthened the duration of my workout by about 10, 15 minutes. And I did a chest and back hybrid where I did both of them that day on Tuesday, I ended up doing 3 and 3 or 4 and 3, 3 chest, 3 back, or 4 chest, 3 back on that day. And then I did like 2 of them were supersets. So I hit both on that day because you can't miss chest for, 14 days, right?
No way.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Ain't happening. I ain't doing it.
So feeling all deflated.
Yeah.
Putting that's how
that's how I deal with it. That's how I deal with it now. But a lot of people are like that. They don't want to mess up their routine. They don't want their back day to suffer because their chest day suffered. The mentality of kind of like, okay, well, my chest is suffering, but my back's not going to be, and then I'll catch back up next week. I understand that too. But I'll do a hybrid. If I miss one, I'll do a hybrid.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to deal with it. And I've never, actually had to go through that personally, but I feel like if I were in a body part split situation, like if I was in a program that was a body part split, I feel like what you did is probably the best and most optimal way to make that happen.
Yeah. I still keep the amount of exercises in the 5 to 7 range. How many different exercises? I just split them up right down the middle, chest and back, right? Or maybe I'll have 4 and 3, 3 and 3. So I'll be in the 6, 7 exercise range. About half of them are chest, about half of them are back. And that's just one example of how I do it.
I think that's a great way to deal with it.
That is absolutely how I do it now.
Yeah. And so if you're listening to this and you're doing a body part split and you miss a day, even though we're naming this as a con of the body part split, this is one way that you can handle that. And so I think this is also a good transition into the pros of a full body. This is something you never really have to worry about.
Sure.
Because you're doing every muscle group every time. And so as an example, Daryl mentioned doing 5 to 7 exercises per body part over time or each day, right? And so over time they add up to getting where you need to be for in total. But in a full body situation, I might do 1 or 2 exercises of each one each day.
Right.
And so the most recent science seems to be telling us that somewhere between 10 and 20 hard sets of a body part per week is ideal. Your genetics and your experience level will vary that 10 on the lower side, 20 on the higher side. You're going to fall somewhere in there. So in Daryl's situation, doing 5 exercises, 3 sets of each one, there's the 15. In my example of a full body, if you do 2 of each one and you do it over 4-day period, there's 8, right? And so if we do 3 of each one over a 4-day period, there's 12. So depending on where you fall kind of in that range, either way will work. But if you do full body, you're just spreading them out over time and you don't have to worry about this, I missed a day, type of situation. One other thing that I like about full body is, in my opinion, every day is hard. Right. So, you could talk
every
about
day is the same. Well, not hard every day, but every day is the same
intensity level.
Intensity level. There you go.
Yeah. Cause we talked about
like you, that's not hard because you like it. So it's physically it's demanding, but mentally you're like, man, I like to do this. So it's kind of more easy for you. Me, if I was going in there and doing, wall balls and ball slams and
battle
rope and everything, I would not want to go because I don't like those as much. And that's just my personal,
exactly.
That's just how I personally
and
feel.
For sure. And when it comes to exercise selection, you can do full body strength. You can do like chest. You can do a chest exercise, leg exercise, back exercise, shoulder,
arms.
And then you could do some full body like thrusters, clean and press, something like that. Ball slams, like you said, kind of get everything going. The preference is up to the individual for sure. But the point of, that we're kind of getting here, a pro of full body, is that you just go and do everything every day. So if you miss a day,
doesn't make as big of a deal.
That's right.
And the frequency is there too, right?
Yes.
You're getting, you might hit 2 chest exercises each time, but you're doing it 5 days a week, so there's your 10. Right.
Exactly.
So that's definitely a pro of what you're saying. Now me, if I miss a day, I'm going to have to take a little bit away from one and make up the other one. So where they're both 75% instead of both being 100%, or one being 100 and one being 0.
Right.
So that's kind of how the full body is better.
And then one other thing that I wanted to mention too about full body, with hitting things more consistently versus not taking so much time, there has been some recent science that's come out that I was reading recently, talking about muscle protein synthesis elevation, peaks at about 36 hours. And then it kind of falls off anytime after that. So you want to roughly hit each muscle group every other day, every 48 hours. And if you do that, you'll be in a really good spot. And that kind of goes back to what we led the show off with, which is until you work out 4 days a week or more, you might as well do full body and hit the muscle groups roughly every 48 hours. Because as long as you hit your sets hard, right? That kind of comes back to this too. Maybe that's a con is that every set counts.
Yeah.
Right. In a body part split, if your first exercise, you're kind of not feeling it. Well, you got another one.
Yeah. You got like 5 more.
Yeah.
4 more.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, if it didn't hit just right, something's not right, pumps off. Well, you got another one. In a full body situation, every set counts. So that's definitely something to think about. But it is shown that muscle protein synthesis is elevated peak 36 hours. So after that 36-hour period,
so
you very much could just do another.
To break it down, you go in there and you hit chest on Monday and you hit it properly. For 36 hours after that workout, your muscle protein synthesis is going to be elevated to peak levels during that time. And then after that, it's going to fall off to what would be normal. Yeah.
Yep. So it's basically time to hit that muscle again.
Yep. Exactly right.
Right. So
in theory, if you didn't have a job or kids or a life or anything, and you could train everything 36 hours apart on the 36th hour, you would be Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
That's what Bumstead does.
Okay.
Bumstead does that, I'm sure.
And we're just looking at it from
Heidi Chupin.
Yeah, that guy, dude.
We're looking at it from a perspective of you do have a job, and you do have kids, you do have a family. So roughly every 48 hours, every other day, is a nice place to be.
Yeah. So if you're a beginner and looking for somewhere to start and the full body interests you, if you do a true full body workout every other day, you're gonna be most likely hitting that between 10 and 20 sets that have shown that is the best for yielding results, right? They're working towards defining that more. So you're going to get between your 10 and 20 sets, and you're going to likely nail your 36-hour protein synthesis window better.
Yep, exactly.
Or at least closer.
And that's why once you go past 4 days a week, then you can definitely start doing the body part split type of situation. Right. So cons of full body though is you do have less time for isolation exercises. So I'm sure
harder to priority train anything.
Yeah, it is. And I think those two things go hand in hand because a lot of times isolation is your priority. Like for chest, well, you do some extra chest flies. You get your presses out of the way first.
Yep.
And then you go do your flies. Well, in a full body situation, if you're prioritizing everything, you might not have as much time for those chest flies.
Yeah.
Because you did your pressing movement for that day for chest. And
That's
so
right.
you only have so much time. You have to do chest, you have to do back, you have to do legs, you have to do shoulders.
Yep.
You're trying to do all these things. You're not going to have much time for isolation. There's definitely no way you're getting 4 sets of triceps.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely not prioritizing any one thing. So if you have a lacking muscle group that it is so much so that it's your main goal to bring that up, then the full body is not likely the better split, or a combination. You know, if you do a full body one day and then you priority train your chest the next day, and then do a full body, and then you priority train your chest maybe the next day you have off or whatever, something like that might be the answer. But if just doing a full body every other day, you're not likely to bring that lacking muscle group up.
Right, exactly. And for most of the time, if we're talking about a beginner situation that's working out less than 4 days a week, like you said, that's going to get everything under control. So if you're listening to this and you're trying to get started, you're looking at 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week, definitely commit to the full body. If you're already consistent with 4 days a week and you want to go to 5 and you want to try a body part split, I think that's a great idea as well.
Sure.
You can even stick with full body, but a little bit of strategy, but some strategy is going to come into play anyways at this point, because you've probably been working out for a while. It's time to step it up to the next level.
Branch out, try some different exercises.
Start dialing it in a little bit.
Yeah. Start dialing it in.
Exactly. So you're going to, and you're also probably at this point going to be more interested anyways.
Right.
That's the natural progression is you kind of get more interested in it and you want to expand your knowledge and try different things.
Well, we like to do things we're good at, right?
Yes.
So like Sean and I were talking about this off camera. And he brought up an interesting point, and this is going to go a little off topic. Historically, I've liked to train legs more because I'm good at them. I have naturally strong legs. I grew up riding bicycles and racing BMX, so it gave me an advantage. So I felt good, especially in like the high school weight room oh, I can squat more than everybody, right? Or most people in here. But the other guys are over there bench pressing a ton. And I'm like, my bench press is pretty average. So I shied away from that more.
I'm going to hang out at the squat rack.
Yeah, I'm going to hang out. And then Sean said something interesting. We were talking about this, and he said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, he said he feels like his legs and his shoulders are his weakest body parts, that he likes the least. So for that reason, he enjoys training them more. And that is really the mentality that you need to have if you want to bring up a lacking body part. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, I used to do push-pull legs, and that was just my go-to split for sure. And then I realized, I think it was after one of the runs, that I was just like, man, dude, my legs feel like they're kind of lacking. I think I need to do more hamstrings. So I started doing legs first. Legs push-pull, and I've loved that split for so long. And legs has been, so I do legs and shoulders on like the same day. I do like a little bit of like more like shoulder focused on my leg day. So yeah, but I really like it. It's been fun.
Yeah, I think you made a great point. It's all a mentality switch. It's like, I'm not good at something, so I'm going to avoid it, which is like, we were teenagers.
Right.
That's what you do when you're young.
Yeah.
But as you learn to get more experience, I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
I need to focus on this thing.
That's the difference in 30-year-old Daryl and 18-year-old Daryl or 17-year-old Daryl, right? And most people probably have that too.
Yeah, it's just something that comes with maturity, you know, and in general, that probably goes across multiple life lessons.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's applicable to life. Anything that you're not good at, you should probably do it more often.
Yes.
Because that is going to harden you. That is going to instill, mental perseverance in you and so forth, right? Like, I'm not saying if you're not good at doing drugs, you should go do drugs. But if there's something like running, for example, or really anything, golfing, if you're not good at something and it kind of makes you maybe like a little nervous or a little, you should probably go head on at it, right?
Yeah, I think there's a double-edged sword here as well, for sure. One, you mentioned building the mental fortitude if you do it.
Yep.
Also, the anxiety of not doing it.
Right.
Because in the back of your mind, Sean knew in the back of his head his weekness.
Yeah.
And if he wouldn't have attacked that, it would have started eating him up on the inside.
Yeah, he'd be thinking about it right now.
Well, it would kind of, after like a race, I'm like, dude, I feel like my legs are just like shot, man. Like, what's going on here? And once I started training and doing more hamstring, like we had that hamstring curler at the gym, and I would start off and I was doing like 35, and I was like, oh, dude, this is heavy. But after we got rid of it, we ended up, and I was doing just 2 plates on it. Like, just, okay, cool. Let me just throw that on there real quick, knock that out. Mm-hmm. And so I put legs first, and I put my weakest part first, and worked out great.
Made some gains.
Yeah.
I went through, real quick, we're talking about workout splits. I went through a phase where I was training 6 days a week, and I had like chest, back, legs, arms, and I can't remember what the others were, shoulders and another one at that time. Similar to what I'm doing now, but what I did was each muscle group, I picked out my least favorite exercise. The exercise that I hated the most for back was pull-ups. For legs, it was single leg split squats. So I would go in the gym, and I would do 4 or 5 sets of that shitty exercise that I hated right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then it gave me this, first of all, I got better at them. Mm-hmm. And I ended up having to change the exercises because I didn't hate them as much because I was getting good at them. But it made me look forward to doing the other 4, 5, 6 exercises because I got the crappy one. Usually the crappy one, you put it on the end and you do your 4 or 5, and then you go, well, I've worked pretty hard. I don't need to go do the split squats. I don't need to go do the split squats. You know what? Matter of fact, I think that's my mother calling. Dinner's, and so I would walk out of the gym occasionally, right? And not do my split squats, my pull-ups, you name it, right? You enter whatever Arnold presses for shoulders, right?
I left my hair in the fridge. I got to go.
Yeah. And so I did that for a while too.
I think that's a great point. And kind of to go back to wrap up the whole mentality conversation that we're having here is the things that you're not good at, just attack.
Yeah.
Or the things that you don't like. Sometimes you have to do stuff you hate.
Yeah, go at it.
That's definitely, it's like a motto that Grant Cardone taught me that actually. Sometimes you have to do stuff you hate.
Don't be a little bitch.
He taught me that.
Yeah.
He taught me that as well.
Yeah.
He taught me that as well.
Yeah. I think they go together.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of get back on track. We'll kind of wrap this up with when should you do each one or how to choose. And it's, in my opinion, the only hard rule here is that to do a body part split, you have to work out a minimum of 4 days a week. 5 is actually better. Otherwise, until you're doing 5, yeah, maybe even 5 for sure. Do full body.
Yep.
You're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to do all the compound movements that you need.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about one of the cons of full body is that you're going to get less time doing isolation. Well, isolation is not nearly as valuable anyways.
Right.
So until you're working out at least 5 days a week, more than likely stick with full body.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, whether you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, doesn't matter. The point is that you're challenging yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing somewhere between 10 on the low end and 20 good sets, not exercises, sets.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, it's very important to differentiate sets versus set. You're doing 3 sets of an exercise, 4 sets of an exercise. So you want to do somewhere between 10 and 20 good, hard sets of a body part each week.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you get that from a body part split or a full body, not as important as you getting to that number. And we define a hard set real quick. We talked about this on the show a lot. RPE, rate of perceived exhaustion. It's a scale of 1 to 10. We're talking RPE 7 or more.
Mm-hmm.
That would
be to you.
Yes,
it's 70% as hard as it can be to 100% as hard as it can be.
Yeah, that's right. A 10 would be like if I do another rep, my arms are going to fall off or I'm going to pass out. Or
you're 100% exhausted.
Yeah.
That's the way I think about RPE.
So at least a 7,
mm-hmm.
you want to do somewhere between 10 and 20 sets
mm-hmm.
per body part on a weekly basis.
Yep.
So whether you get all those one a day or you spread them out over time, whatever is best. Whether you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, doesn't matter. If you're a beginner or advanced, also.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter.
That almost sounded like a prescription, man.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Phil, man.
Hey,
Dr. Phil.
Yeah, we're just trying to change some lives here, you know?
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good point, and we can wrap up here in a minute. I just want to make one more point, and then we can start bringing this thing to a close. And I think even more so Phil's talking pretty basic, right? You know, depending on how many days a week you're going to do it, which one's better. But I think even more basic than that, whatever is more conducive to consistency for you. What are you more likely to do consistently when you're talking about split, right? What's going to motivate you? Not motivate you. What are you going to look forward to and more likely to go do? Because if you hate the body part split, you're less likely to continue doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But if
what's the less like friction?
Right. Yeah. What's the less friction? So that's probably where I would go. Now, if you're willing to eat that a little bit and really look at your time and what you're willing to spend on it, definitely, go with what Phil was talking about, or, go with, pick that way is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think that, the last point to make here is that you have to do one or the other. You have to do something, right? Exercise is very important. Make it part of your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Pick something, stick with it. Don't hop back and forth.
Yeah.
Pick your method of exercise. We believe, obviously, we're sitting here talking about gym and lifting weights and stuff.
Yep.
We're talking about resistance training. But guys, get active, do something on a regular basis. We talked today about the pros and cons of body part splits versus full body. If you're not doing either of these right now, let's take step 1 and start doing something.
Yep.
If you have questions or you need help, we are here to help you. And
Absolutely
we can make this happen. You can do this stuff at home. You can do it at a gym. If you need professional help, we're in Webster. We can make that happen as well. But all we want to do is help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness.
Yep.
So you need to do something.
That's right. And I'm going to leave you with one piece of motivational, speak here.
What you got for us?
I ran, my brain sometimes just randomly comes up with stuff.
Let's hear it.
So I'm gonna give you a short version. I was at work the other day and I train on lunch the 4 days a week. I usually only work 4 days a week. During those 4 days, we have a gym on site. I will go there and train during the day. And then the 3 that I'm off, I'll go to either OTG or Steelworks. Anyhow. So of course the guys around the office, most of them are a little older, not in great shape. And, one of them asks something along the lines of, why do you work out so much or whatever? And I could tell he was kind of poking fun at me a little bit. And I was like, I turned around and I was like, you know why I work out so much? I was like, because if it comes down, push comes to shove, I'm taking your lunch money. And he's like, what? So I tell all the guys at work, I tell them, don't let them take your lunch money. Don't make, because if you go work out on a regular basis, there's going to be easier targets in the world. People are going to go take their lunch money instead of yours, right? And you can help people. You can protect yourself and help others not get their lunch money taken.
I think that's a great point.
Don't let them take your lunch money, dude.
Yeah, don't let them take your lunch money. I like that.
I came back from the gym and two guys that I would normally see in there sitting in the office. I'm like, good luck hanging on to that lunch money, dude. You didn't hit the gym today. Don't let them take your lunch money. That's all I got.
Yeah,
I
think there's a comedian that does a bit about that. He's like,
really?
Yeah. I think it's a Bill Burr bit. It's a lot more vulgar than that, but pretty much it's talking about like at the end of the day, you can have all these guns and stuff, but it doesn't help if you're not physically fit at all because you're just getting all the guns and the supplies for the next bigger guy.
That's gonna come in and take your lunch money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
we need to make that OTG slogan. Don't let them take your lunch money.
Let them take your lunch money.
Anyway, I just wanted to do something funny here at the end.
Yeah, I like it. Don't be the weakest link.
Don't be the weakest link. That's right. All right. Anybody else got anything?
That's it for me.
Nah.
What y'all got?
I think that's it.
1, 2, 3. We're out.